Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to the Lotus Eletre. Confession time. This is the first Lotus I've ever driven, which feels quite embarrassing really, because I'm a car guy, I'm running a car channel, and I should have driven a Lotus by now, shouldn't I? And the first Lotus I get to drive is an EV. This is a completely electric car. There's no engine, there's nothing apart from some motors driving the wheels, which in theory goes against everything Lotus stands for, doesn't it? You know, Lotus is a sports car brand. It conjures up weekends in a tiny little sports car, smashing through back roads like this one that I'm on now. It doesn't conjure up an EV at all, but that's what we've got. Equally, it doesn't conjure up an SUV either. This is, or was, Lotus's first ever SUV when it was launched a couple of years ago. This is the 600 variant, which is a little bit newer. I'm fascinated by this car. I've done all the normal stuff in it. I've done all the kind of family stuff. I've put a car seat in the back and done the nursery run. We've been to Tesco's and back. I've driven it to London. And because of that, I've got quite a rounded opinion of the Eletre. But also, I've got one massive question which I need your help with. I'll ask that a bit later. Now, because this is an EV, it's ridiculously quick. Forgetting specs, forgetting what the motors are, what the battery size is and all that stuff. It's just very, very fast. I'm struggling to know what else to say about EV performance, because when you drive an EV for the first time, it's really exciting. I've always said this, it's computer game fast. You put your foot down and bang, straight away, torque, power, everything. On a lot of EVs, that power, and particularly that torque, does tail off quite quickly. Compared to a very powerful petrol engine, it kind of just dissipates a little bit, and it does so fairly quickly. But the difference between a regular EV, something like a BMW iX1, and something like this, is that the Lotus can pile on speed and keep piling on speed. It's very similar to the Porsche Macan Turbo that I reviewed recently, which had that initial wave of, that initial wall of torque just hit you straight in the face, but it carried on. This does the same thing. It's not quite as quick as the Porsche. I think I won't say this, in fact I'll put down, before the Porsche people get involved and call me an idiot, I will put the exact comparison down here in terms of what the 0 to 60 time is, but I get the feeling it's not quite as fast as the Porsche, but the Porsche is scarily quick, almost too much, in fact definitely too much. This is just a very, very quick EV. Going back to what I said a moment ago, I don't really know how else to talk about EV performance, because it's so otherworldly, because it's so unusual and unlike anything we've had before when it comes to petrol engines and diesel engines, etc. That initial excitement does just turn into acceptance that this thing is just so fast. And in a straight line, this will beat most things on the road. Wherever you're driving, unless something epic comes past you or is in front of you or behind you, you are the fastest car on the road anywhere. And that's the feeling I get in the Eletre. All these cars coming past me now, the car in front of me, definitely, but it's just quicker than all of these, which means when you put your foot down, which I can do because there's a nice distance now, oh my word! And that is in Tour mode. We've got several modes. We've got Tour, we've got Range, Off-Road, Individual, and Sport. It's in Sport now, and immediately the side bolsters on the seat have squeezed in and kind of readied me for the drama that's about to unfold. So if I put my foot down now, when the road clears, which it has done, oh my word! Did I just say that that kind of shock turns into acceptance? That's not true, is it? I think in this car it remains, to be fair. Particularly when you put it into sport mode, it's just mind-bendingly quick. However, it's not a one-trick pony. It's not just about going fast in a straight line, which is quite often the case with EVs. Because this is a Lotus, it drives really well. It's a lot of fun to take round corners. It's a big car. As I'll show you in a moment, it's a very big car, but it never feels that big. It's also got the spoiler on the back, which is active, so it pops up when it needs to and goes back down when you're finished with it. It's got aero at the front as well, active aero things which kind of open and close on the front grille. It's just tuned for performance in every possible way, and you do feel that when you're driving it. It doesn't feel like a regular SUV. Yes, you can get it to the shops and back and get there in record time, but as soon as you get on the back road, a really good B road, and put your foot down and go around a few corners, it's beautiful. There's barely any roll, which is what you tend to get with big SUVs. It also lowers the suspension automatically, so as you're going faster, it kind of hunkers down and just really gets into that racing mode. It feels like a Lotus. Even though I've never driven a Lotus, this is how I would imagine a big Lotus to feel. That's the best way of describing the performance, really, when it comes to the way it piles on speed, but also the way it goes around corners. If someone said to me, Lotus is going to design an SUV, this is what I expect. There's no disappointment at all. The only challenge is the fact there's no noise. And that's the weird thing about the Eletre, that you get all that speed and all that performance, but you don't get the drama of an engine. There's no noise coming from there or from there. There's barely any noise at all. You get a whine from the electric motors, but there's nothing, because there's no petrol engine, and I don't know how I feel about that. So you get this weird sensation where you love driving this thing, and it's hard not to have a smile on your face when you're banging around B roads on this, but then it's kind of contrasted with this thing that there's something lacking. There's no engine. It's like driving a computer game, albeit a very exciting computer game. However, there is one thing which dominates this car, and that is the looks. Firstly, this is the most yellow thing I've ever had in my possession. I used to have a yellow Punto GT. If you know what that is, if you had one yourself, amazing. Please get involved in the comments, because that was quite a unique car and I loved it. But anyway, that was many, many years ago, and it was very yellow, but it was not as yellow as this is. I've seen two other Eletras while I've had this on the road, and one was grey and the other one was a kind of dark metallic red, and they just didn't look like this at all. They didn't stand out whatsoever. And I think if you're going to spend the kind of money on this car that you can spend, which I'll reveal later, I think it makes sense to go for something as brash as this. And it isn't just brash, it's a lovely yellow. It's kind of Ferrari, Lamborghini yellow. And yes, it does have Lamborghini vibes. There's no getting away from this. I think a lot of people who look at this car, and this car gets looked at all the time, it really draws a lot of attention, partly because of the colour, but also I think some people who know their cars may mistakenly think it's a Urus. The fact it isn't makes it even cooler, because I think the people who do know their cars, they might think that to begin with, and then as they get closer think, hang on a minute, is that a Lotus badge? You can see their minds working, which makes this such a cool car. Anyway, let's park up and have a look around. Okay, here she is. Now the first thing to talk about actually is the key, and a bit of a confession, I'm afraid, Lotus. Firstly, this is the key here. It's this kind of really strange, and you can probably see what I'm about to confess. It feels a bit Star Trek-y. And as you can see, I've broken it. I'm not just saying this, I genuinely don't know how that's happened, but it's cracked. Anyway, you get that, but you also get a card that you can use. One of the ways you get into the car is by motioning the card across that sensor, I believe. No biometric entry, but it doesn't matter, because actually it's all keyless entry. So you walk up to the car, and it unlocks. You walk away and it locks, so it has all that stuff. But forgetting about broken keys, in terms of the look of the car, it's massive. It's a massive car. I don't think that will come across very well on this video, but trust me, it's huge, really big. Now, if I had one criticism, it would be this angle here. I'm not quite as keen on that as I am at the front. It's not ugly at all, it's just, I said about the Bentley Continental GT Speed that I had for a week that didn't have a bad angle. It was the only car I've ever seen, I think, which was just beautiful from every single side. This just has, it's just something about that bit, but that's nitpicking, to be honest, because it's such a good looking car. And if you came up behind this, until you get closer and see that Lotus lettering here, I don't think you know what this is. And if I just come around to the front again, just to illustrate that confusion that happens with car people, they drive up to it, and from here, you would be forgiven for thinking that this is potentially a Lamborghini. But you get closer and closer, and you spot this. You spot the Lotus, the unmistakable Lotus logo. And then before you know it, you've driven past and that thing's gone and you're wondering what it is. That's what makes this car so cool, I think. Side profile, big fan of that. We have huge wheels on this one, 22 inches, red calipers, drilled discs. They're not carbon ceramic, but it doesn't matter. I mean, look at the size of them. And it sits on air suspension as well, so you can lower it and raise it if you want to. Down here is where we have the active aero stuff. So if I lock the car, it all closes up. Then if I open the car, these little things open. I think it's to do with aerodynamics, but it's a bit random the way they open and close, as you can see here. Oh, and also this kind of split spoiler thing on the roof, I find very interesting. I like that. The active spoiler is here, so again, if I lock the car and open it again, your spoiler momentarily pops up and then goes back down. I'm not sure why it does that, but it's just cool. It's a cool thing, isn't it? Right, interior. This is, without a doubt, one of the most unique and I think best looking modern car interiors. I absolutely love it. I'm not very good at describing car interiors, so you will have to bear with me, but I love this. I love this kind of swooping and angular dash. We have a light built into this as well, which you can change colour if you want to. It's got this kind of mirrored effect thing here with a bit of texture on there, which is lovely. The display is big, but it's not too big. This one is also very dirty, apologies. The system is okay, it's all right. I've only been using the built-in system on here. I've not been using CarPlay or Android Auto, although you will do that if you have this car, so it's almost not worth talking about. But the sat-nav works fine. It's intuitive, no problems whatsoever. But the interior, this interior, my favourite thing, being a bit of a audio person, is the fact that this particular car has KEF audio. So it has KEF reference audio, and the speakers are exposed, which isn't very kid-friendly, I'll say that, but look at them. KEF speaker there, KEF speaker there. I've just noticed there's a KEF speaker down here as well. There's one up there, one there. It's got surround sound, as you might guess, and it sounds wonderful. The steering wheel is fantastic. It's got a flat top, flat bottom. We do have regen paddles here. The regen on this car is actually really good. By default, it's on setting 3, but if I pull this back here, we go to setting 2, setting 1, and then off. I've left it on 3. It's one of the best regen systems I've ever used. Very drivable. On the right hand side, we have the drive mode select, so I can choose between sport and tour. When you do that on the screen here, you get this lovely animation. Big fan of that. The center console is simple, but we do have some buttons. Thank you, Lotus. We have a drive selector. We have controls for the air conditioning. We also have a button here, which if you press it, opens the, I don't know why that's funny, it's not funny at all, but it opens the glove box. I'd like a few more buttons. Everything else is in here, but it's probably enough. We also have charging for your phone there. 2 cup holders of different sizes, which is interesting. Lots of storage here, very, very deep, and we have USB-C charging in there as well, which is useful. A lovely panoramic sunroof in this particular model, which, if I go into here, you get a slider, which, if I slide it left and right, it changes from being opaque to not opaque. Is that the right word? The opacity changes. It's so clever. Look, there's the sky. And now it's gone. So in the cabin, beautiful. If we go into the rear of the car, in terms of room for passengers, it's incredibly impressive. I'm 5'8", 5'9", and there's loads of room here. But if you were 6 foot, 6+ foot, I think you'd be fine. It feels so big back here. We do have a screen down here as well, which is very Tesla-esque, if I'm allowed to say that, I don't know. But it is, it's very much like the screen that you get for rear passengers in Teslas, so I like that. It's just very, very roomy, and I can confirm you can get a child seat in here, obviously very, very easily. We do have this here as well. Ooh, I like that. I've not done that before. So you pull this down. Oh, that came out. Oh, there you go. So you get 2 cup holders. Do we get anything else? Ooh, it's like a storage area for stuff. Right, let's take a look at the boot. This is a very practical car, I have to say. I've got lots of stuff in here at the moment. So I've got a gym bag, I've got a camera bag, some other stuff, and, well, it goes back for miles. It's a huge huge boot, and obviously you can put the seats down as well and get even more space for your tip run. Would you do a tip run in this? Let's get going. Okay, the big question I have for the Lotus Eletre, and for you actually, is who would buy this car? And normally I have quite a good idea of who that person is, but for this I'm completely stumped, and this is where I need your help. I want to know, if you've bought one of these, why? What is it about the Eletre that made you say, yep, here is a lot of money, Lotus, take it, give me the car, happy days? Secondly, have you got an inkling about someone who would buy this car? Do you think you know someone who would buy this car? Again, get involved in the comments. The challenge I have is that I wouldn't buy this car for two reasons. Firstly, the price. This particular model that I'm driving, the 600, which has quite a few extras on it because it's a press car, and that's what happens with press cars, is £110,000. That's a lot of money. It's more money than I'll ever spend on a car. The second reason I wouldn't buy this car is because, for me, it's not giving me that pure, thoroughbred, original Lotus experience. I'm a car guy, and if I ever buy a Lotus, which could happen, it won't be a Lotus Eletre. Why would it be? I'd want the weekend car, the weekend Lotus that I know other people have had in the past and absolutely adore. So again, that just takes me back to this big question about who would buy this. Is it a Lotus person? Is it a Lotus person who has that weekend car? They've had it for years and got a family all of a sudden. They've got quite a bit of money, and they're just thinking, I don't want a Range Rover, I don't want a Porsche, I love my Lotus, let's get the Eletre. Maybe that is the person. Maybe it's as simple as that. I'm not part of the Lotus club, so I can't really answer that question. So this is where I turn this particular review over to you. Get involved in the comments. Would you buy this? Would you not buy this? Have you bought this? Do you know someone who's bought it? What I will say is this has been a fantastic experience. I've loved driving this car. The attention it gets, I cannot lie, is quite addictive, but it also looks like something from another planet. And because it's a Lotus, and some people I do think mistake it for something else until they realise it's not what they think it is, it makes it epically interesting. Get involved in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think, and if you haven't subscribed yet to The Next Drive but you've been enjoying these videos, please do click that button, hit the like button, tell your mates, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.